Hidden inside the British Library is one of the most important books in human history. An ancient manuscript copied over 1600 years ago. Its fragile pages survived the collapse of the Roman Empire, barbarian invasions, religious wars, and the rise and fall of empires. For centuries, monks protected it by hand. Today, it sits quietly behind glass in London, England, while thousands of tourists walk past without realizing they are standing in front of one of the greatest treasures of Christianity. But this ancient Bible is only part of the story. Hidden inside the British Library are some of the most valuable manuscripts on earth, books that change history forever. Today, we are going inside of one of the greatest libraries in the world, in search of an ancient mystery. Welcome to Digging Up the Bible. If you like investigating Bible mysteries like I do, hit that bell notification. It really helps out the channel. Now back to the show. The British Library is not just a library. It is one of the largest collections of human knowledge ever assembled. Located in London near St. Pancras Station, the library contains more than 170 million items from nearly every civilization and time period imaginable. Every year, millions of people visit London to see places like Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, and the Tower of London. But many visitors completely overlook what may be the city's greatest historical treasure. Hidden inside this building are documents that shaped the modern world. Walking into the British Library feels almost like entering a vault of civilization itself. One of the first things visitors notice is the tower of books that rises clear to the top floor. You could get lost in this library for hours, maybe days. But off to the side is a very special room filled with a very important collection of books. A collection that literally shaped the culture, values, and institutions of the modern world. Few places on earth allow you to stand only a few inches away from documents copied by Christian scribes more than 1500 years ago. And among them is one manuscript that towers above all the others. Codex Sinaiticus. Recently, Billy Carson appeared on the Joe Rogan show, claiming that there was a Sinai Bible that predated later Bibles like the King James Version, which contained 12,000 to 14,000 major differences. He implied that Jesus was not crucified and that the New Testament had been significantly altered. Is that true? Is that what the oldest Bible in the world actually says? Before we answer those questions, let's get a little context. Long before the printing press, every Bible was copied entirely by hand. A single mistake could ruin months of work. Christian scribes labored for years, copying the scriptures onto parchment made from animal skins. These manuscripts were expensive, rare, and incredibly valuable. Many Christians risked their lives to preserve them during periods of persecution under the Roman Empire. And because of this painstaking work, the text of the Bible survived, while most of the ancient books ever written over the centuries have disappeared. Codex Sinaiticus is not written in Hebrew or Aramaic. It's written in Greek. And that's because it owes its lineage to an early Greek translation of the Old Testament called the Septuagint. For early Christians scattered across the Roman Empire, Greek was often the common language. And this Greek Bible, Codex Sinaiticus, helped spread Christianity throughout the ancient world. When you stand in front of these manuscripts, you are not just looking at old pages. You are looking at the very texts copied by candlelight, carried across continents, and studied by generations of believers. Many scholars consider the Codex Sinaiticus to be the oldest, nearly complete Bible in the world. The manuscript dates to the 4th century, around the time of the Roman Emperor Constantine. That means this Bible was copied only about 300 years after the time of Jesus and the apostles, most likely in Palestine, where the disciples lived. When this manuscript was being copied, the Roman Empire still ruled the Mediterranean world. Gladiators had only recently disappeared. The city of Constantinople had just been founded, and Christianity was transforming from a persecuted faith into the dominant religion of the empire. At some point in time, the Codex Sinaiticus was transported to the Christian monastery in Sinai. Here it waited, safe from persecution, religious wars, and human conflict for nearly 1400 years, until it was rediscovered in the 1800s by German scholar Konstantin von Tischendorf at St. Catherine's Monastery in the Sinai Peninsula. The manuscript contains large portions of both the Old and New Testaments written in beautiful Greek uncial script, all in capital letters without spaces between words. There are no chapter numbers like modern Bibles, no verse references, no red letters, no study notes, just columns of carefully copied Greek text stretching across parchment pages that have survived for 16 centuries. For most of Christian history, believers did not experience the Bible the way we do today. There were no mass-produced paperbacks, no apps, no audio Bibles. Each manuscript was a priceless object created through enormous labor and devotion. But what about Billy Carson on the Joe Rogan podcast? What does the Codex Sinaiticus, or as he called it, Sinai Bible, say about the crucifixion? In Matthew 27, Jesus is handed over to be crucified. In chapter 28, Jesus rises from the dead. Mark 15 and 16 describe Jesus' crucifixion at Golgotha, his death, and the resurrection. In Luke 23, Jesus is crucified between two criminals. In Luke 24, he rises from the dead. In John 19, Jesus is scourged, crucified, and in chapter 20 and 21, he appears alive again to his disciples. There is no version of Codex Sinaiticus that removes the crucifixion narrative or the resurrection. So what does exist? Minor wording differences, like all ancient manuscripts. But the story is the same one that's in our Bibles. By the way, a big shout out to Wes Huff for debunking Billy Carson live on YouTube. As it turns out, the lost Bible in the British Library was never really lost at all. It just wasn't read by Billy Carson, and that's the problem. Thanks for watching Digging Up the Bible. If you enjoy videos about biblical archaeology, ancient manuscripts, and the history behind the Bible, make sure to hit that bell notification and join us for the next adventure. Because sometimes the greatest discoveries are not buried underground. They're just hidden in a library.